We have a couple of Dave Rubin clips on this topic of the
This is a perfect way on
latest
Friday.
lawsuit. Now, I have lost count. There's a Benghazi quality to this, and a repeal Obamacare quality to this. They passed, I think, the Republican-controlled House attempted. They had something like 55 votes to repeal Obamacare, maybe more. They had countless hearings on Benghazi. And now we're up in the 50s, I think it is, for the lawsuits that have been brought around this election. I think like every single one of them but one, and that one was like a small procedural question, were rejected out of hand by the courts. And here's Dave Rubin applying an interesting metric as to how you determine whether a lawsuit is legit or not. And it's not the trail of 49 or 55 or however many losses it's been in the past 3 or 4 weeks. In fact, it's something else. Which cable channel you watch?
Regardless of what the truth is about election fraud, or was it done absolutely perfectly? I mean, the fact that YouTube doesn't want you to talk about it, mainstream is ignoring it. If anything, that in and of itself makes it seem like it's more legit, right? Like if every day the mainstream media was covering it and saying, "Oh, we had these hearings today, and these regular citizens put their butts on the line to say these things, but they're all crazy people," or something like that. Well, if you guys were covering it, well, then it wouldn't seem so weird. But the more they say, "Oh, don't look over there," the more that the average person, because they've shot their load already, right? I'm trying to be cleaner this week. They've busted their nut. Wait, that didn't work either. You get what I'm saying, people. They've done such a poor job,
master communicator,
of doing what they're supposed to do, that the more they ignore something at this point, the more legit it seems.
Why did he go cruder when he said he was trying to be cleaner?
Can I just say that unlike the clip from last week where I clipped that, Dave posted that section himself. So that's their promotional. He thought that was the best clip.
He thought that was the best content of the day.
And so, I mean, that the theory is that the less, now I can't tell if he's doing like a media critique or he's actually like critiquing the lawsuits, right? Like the idea is that the media can delegitimize things that are delegitimate by covering them. The non-news stories, cover the non-news stories so that people know that they're non-news stories, as opposed to people just doing something, right? Like, I mean, I don't know, these lawsuits, everyone seems to know they're not going anywhere. Everybody seems to know that much of them are kayfabe or just absolutely out of their mind. I mean, really, the story would be like, who's financing these? Why are they doing it? Et cetera, et cetera. But in his mind, in his narrow world, they become more legitimate because CNN is not dedicating enough coverage to it or something to that effect. I'm not sure exactly how that works.
No, so everything that CNN is not covering is the truth. I mean, that's just the reality. The Yeti is in your backyard. Michael Jackson, still alive, rigging the votes in Venezuela. All of these things are more legitimate because MSNBC chose not to talk about it on its nightly programming.
It's weird how teenagers skateboarding in a park is probably more legitimate than football because it is not being covered by the major networks.
What do you know?
But football is, isn't it? Strange.
Drunk idiots throwing darts in a bar. Way important than way more legitimate than the NBA.
I watched the Patriots sadly lose last night, but I can't see people who are vomiting because they had too much Jack Daniels. So maybe,
that means that's more important.
It's an odd theory that Dave Rubin has. Dave Rubin has some other odd theories. And this is, it's honestly, it's like junior high. And, people criticize, and they've been criticized. I've been criticized for covering Fox over the years, or covering Dave Rubin, or Ben Shapiro, or any of these right wingers. And, more sophisticated people on the left are like, why are you wasting your time with that? But yesterday we had a call from someone from Turning Points who was laid off, who no longer subscribes to their ideology because of this show. We have people call in all the time and say, I was a fan of Dave Rubin's, and then I caught some of your show, your critique of him, and now I'm, to the left of you guys. I mean, that is a big part of what we do, particularly on YouTube, is to interact and to get into the sort of algorithm people so that they can see this stuff, because a lot of people who watch these shows, they go from one show like Dave Rubin to Ben Shapiro's show to Tim Pool's show and to Joe Rogan's show. And they say, these guys have to be right. Everybody agrees, because they get caught in a bubble and they don't realize there's other perspectives. Here is Dave Rubin trying to construct that bubble. Here he is.
I want to show you 2 tweets from Tim Pool. By the way, you guys know Tim Pool. I've had him on the show a bunch. I would say he's on the short list of people that I can call journalists without putting quotes around the word journalist. And I've got the tweets over here. Do I have the tweets?
I'd love to see the rest of that
list. The tweets from Tim. Oop. I don't think I have the tweets from Tim. Where'd the tweets go? Oh, I do have them here. You can still say there is evidence of widespread fraud. So I will say that. There appears to be evidence of widespread fraud. There are thousands of affidavits signed by people who were election regulators. You can still say Trump actually won. You cannot combine the two. What strange times we live in. So yes, folks, we do live in strange times.
Pause it for one second. Will you go back to that tweet and explain to me what that tweet says? Is he claiming that, first of all, is he claiming that you can't, I see what you say. He's talking about, this is all about like on where YouTube has decided that they're not going to promote the fiction that Donald Trump has won the election. Is that what it is? And so you can say that Trump definitely won, and you can do,
journalist. I mean, like, we wouldn't even describe ourselves as journalists on the show, right? We're talk show people, right? We're pundits or whatever. You can't call just somebody who talks on the internet a journalist just because.
I think Tim Pool has in the past done some journalism. I think he has actually in the past. And now he is, I think, just a grifter. And the idea that like, we can't spread misinformation. I hope they join us in calling for the breakup of Google and YouTube, and to allow there to be competition, and they can find a service where they're allowed to spread disinformation to people. I mean, there is the funny part is that that title, the non-quotated title of journalist, was once supposed to be, like where you have a trusted news source. And I'm sorry, there's just no evidence that Tim Pool is in any way trustworthy in that respect. I think there's arguments about, taking this stuff off of YouTube and whatnot. I think it's obviously a private service. They can do what they want. I think it's not that necessarily as helpful. I think for these folks, if you totally demonetized all their stuff that they are doing and still allow them to get the word out, you consistently did that. But I think YouTube has got, they make a lot of money off of Tim Pool. And so there's a certain amount of conflict. And that's probably why they're reacting in the way that they do, because they also want to make it seem like they're not making a lot of money off of Tim Pool, because Tim Pool's making a lot of money too. So I'm much more in favor of like, we're demonetizing you. You can put up anything you want. We're demonetizing you. Yeah. And I have a feeling a lot of this stuff would dry up a lot quicker if they weren't making money off it. That's my sense.
Well, sounds like we could put his that theory to the test and just see if he wants to put up free content.
Yeah, exactly.
Just call him
that
out.
way they can get the word out.